Hello and welcome back to Insanely Creating. It's so good to see you again. Right, we have got one of these dirty little Disney princess dolls. She's really grubby, bleh. But we're going to use her today to make our M3gan doll from the new M3gan movie, where we have the robot doll thing that it gets creepy. It's actually a good movie. I know it hasn't had the best reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it. So maybe give it a go. But I thought this doll would be really good to use for it because she's already got the quite angelic, childlike looking face. She's got the hair that we can actually use for this because I don't fancy rerouting or attempting to make a wig for a doll this large. And she's also got the flat feet as well. The doll in the movie has these cute little black shoes, like little Mary Janes, and you know, wouldn't be able to do that with a doll that needs high heels, and I don't fancy chopping feet off today, so this doll seems quite perfect, and I really like her proportions as well. It's all very childlike. And with the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get this doll prepped. The first thing we are going to tackle is this disgusting bird's nest of hair. I'm not even exaggerating when I say how disgusting this hair is. It feels awful. I had to give it a really good wash. The amount of stuff that I found in it, it's a proper bird's nest. It had moss, it had twigs, and I think I even found a contact lens in there. So be wary if you're buying secondhand dolls. They can be really rank. I put those little finger protectors on my hands while I was using the acetone because I wanted to protect my nails. And I'm just using a mixture of soft pastels and watercolour pencils to give her a brand new face. And a quick layer of gloss on her eyes and lips. I give her some human lashes that aren't too big at all. These are quite modest looking little lashes. And then I also added some gloss onto her waterline as well, just in the corners. And I just think it just adds a little extra. Thankfully I had this stripy fabric lying around. It's not stretchy unfortunately, which would have been perfect, but I just hem it using my Yoo-hoo glue stick. Yeah, see, not stretchy at all. It's a bit of a bummer, but we're going to do what we can with it. Just by rolling it around here, I'll just glue it down. Now from the dirty Disney bundle that I got, I also got an Elsa. So we stole her tights and her shoes, and we're going to use these tights to make a pattern that I can then cut out from an old white t-shirt. Now I noticed that her shoes have straps, so I added on some elastic. I then sanded down the shoe and then repainted it using acrylic paint. I then also used my UV resin to make a little buttony, buckly type thing on the strap of the shoe. It works really good. And then I painted it with my silvery nail polish that we've seen a few times now. Dress time. So I took apart the Rapunzel dress that the doll came with, and I've managed to make a little pattern of a little tea dress with the pleats at the front and the extra panel, the cap sleeves and little Peter Pan collar. So let's just cut those out. Ta-da! Here we go. I folded the fabric in half, by the way, so that each one has been cut out twice. So that I've got a pair for each one. Except for this one, this was done on a fold so that it becomes one piece, so that I don't have a seam going down the front middle of the dress. The first thing that I'm going to sew together is the shoulder seams. So it's out of shot for the moment, you'll see it in just a second, but there is the sleeve hole that I need to leave open, so I'm just going to do the bit at the top where the shoulder would be. So that's one side, and there's the other side, so we're just going to do these two bits up here. Now I'm just going to add in the front panel to the front of the dress. And then I just use my hair straightener to flatten those darts down and make the pleats look really nice, make them lay flat. Any and all seams that I create, I do tend to stick them down with Yoo-hoo glue as well, just so that it makes everything look a bit neater on the other side, and it does help the garment sit a little bit flatter on the doll. Okay, so everything's looking really neat, and I've got the pleats sitting really nicely now at the front. So it's time to add in our sleeves. Now I've got them here. I just need to put in the dart at the top, and then I will get those sewn in. Did I lose some footage? Yes I did. Here she's now got her collar and her sleeves are all on, and I did the side seams of the dress. It was an absolute mission getting it onto the doll as well, so I'm actually going to just sew her into it because there is no way this dress is now coming off. So excuse the pin, she will actually be sewn into it. I was going to add in Velcro, but like I said, she just can't get back out of it, so she's staying in there forever now. This is it. So at one part of the movie, the M3gan doll has a knife type machete. She steals it off of a guillotine, but it basically looks like a machete. So I've decided to make one, but her hand's not quite right. So I'm just going to chop the hand off, and we will rotate it round a little bit. And I want to try and get it to have a more closed hand position so that we can get it holding the machete. I put it in boiling water and then set it in this tissue in the hope that it would stay like this. But yeah, her hand does really slowly and creepily open back up again over the next couple of days, which is a shame because it holds the Lollipop stick really well, and it would have looked really awesome. I don't fancy sculpting a whole new hand today. No. But a positive from all this, at least we got it into a much better position for being able to hold the machete weapon, and actually have it going out to the side rather than straight forward. Now this is your standard Lollipop stick that you get. It's a great size for actually holding in her hand, but it is nowhere near long enough, as you can see here. So I actually thankfully have massive lollipop sticks. So we're going to use this as our base for making her weapon. We just need to carve it. Sanded it down just to get rid of any potential splinters that we could get, and this is how it is looking so far. So we've got a little handle that we'll make better with epoxy sculpt in just a minute, but this is how the blade is looking. I've tried to get it as straight as possible, but because we are using wood here, it does still have its natural knots and things in it, so it's a little bit wonky, but it'll do. Just mixing up some epoxy sculpt to use for the handle. I know I'm not wearing gloves, but I've never had an allergic reaction to any of this. So I've got no issue with me not wearing gloves, but if it's you, please make sure you protect yourself and look after your skin, especially if it's a material that you've never used before. But the handle turned out great. I really like it. So I will give it a little paint job in just a minute. But until then, she really needs a bow. I found this top online, so I'm going to use this because the stripes look quite similar. I know they're not perfect, but they look very similar to the photos that I managed to grab of Megan. So we're going to use this to make her a lovely little bow. And ta-da, we have a bow. I added a little bit of ribbon at the back, literally a little bit. This is all that I had left of this width of ribbon, and it was perfect. So I've added that, and I've also painted up her little weapon, which is just up here. Here we go. So I added my trusty silver nail polish to the blade, and I just did the handle in black. And that was the very last thing that we needed to make for this doll. So let's put her together, let's get some glamour shots and see what you think. Ended up really loving how she turned out, much better than how I thought she was going to turn out, which is great. If you ended up really liking this, give it a thumbs up, but if you ended up loving it, consider subscribing and dinging the bell, and then you'll get to see all the weird stuff that I end up making and thinking up. Until next time, guys, bye bye.